Welcome to Cosmic Conversations. You are tapping in to the root of the symmetry. I'm your boy Tahuti, here to help us connect, communicate, and correlate all of our infinite individuality so that we can get our spirituality popping in this reality. Today's question is quite a popular one, and it's just really it's like up there with like the narcissism question. Like when people ask like how do I deal with narcissists, this is also there, where it's twin flames, soulmates, twin flames, cosmic partners, so to speak. And this really does harken to just how creating art with another spirit is, most spirits, if not all spirits, if you're in a body especially, ultimate desire. This is how life is created, is with others. So I've gotten like a few questions. So we're just wrapping it in this one as what is a twin flame? Basically, how do you know when you found your twin flame? Um, can you what was it like? Can you have more than one twin flame? And I think those were the main ones because that's like the sort of like extra. Like, can you have more than one twin flame? Um, when like the point of a twin is that there's two. So honestly, we'll just answer that right there. No, but then yes, because the spirit will find a way. It's just then it's not a twin flame. Like now it's a triplet flame. It would be a quintuplet flame. Because okay, flame. What does flame represent? Your imagination. Indigenous peoples know this, that fire, it is not actually the spirit, but it is how the spirit externalizes itself. This is why fire is always dancing, it constantly changing, shifting. It's just transformation inherently because the spirit is transformation. The spirit is infinite, the spirit is chaotic, the spirit is like nothing and like it's just unimaginable. So the moment the spirit does imagine itself, that's what fire is. That's the first flame. So when we look at flame, we like to correlate it to that because your imagination dances based on your nothingness. And then that's where flame is dancing and changing on what? Based on really emotion. So then that's where we also get to learn and see that light moves, light vibrates. In imagination, your light vibrates with the darkness, which is the invisible part of everything that the spirit had to bring together to make that visible. So this is what then it's just constantly changing because it's just constantly bringing that together. So that's where flame is your imagination. No one can tame your flame. You have to tame it yourself based on if you feel like it's worth even showing. But this is sort of why like everyone feels and knows that individuality is the vibe because when you are in your actual infinite individuality, you're a flame. So here's the point of why there is no all one thing. Like I just finished very long tablet talks, and all these tablet talks are hammering in this one concept. Like white supremacists have colonized my text so that they can hammer in this one concept that we are all part of one imagination. And they are doing their best to hammer in this concept because their imagination relies on disconnecting you from your own spirit. So they need all of your imagination and thus all of your soul and all your feelings that come with that on their system. And they're doing their best to convince you that you're not worth building your own world. It's not even possible to leave Earth or build your own planet or whatever. Like, no, you need to worship this thing. You need to know that you're part of something else. This is the spiritual colonialism that allowed Europeans to, and has consistently allowed Europeans to grape, murder, and enact wild genocide across North and South and Central America. Is that all these spiritual individuals who they are stealing constantly from are created by the same God they're created by. And that God said that they're allowed to do these horrible things to them. So this is what imagination it does, right? Like imagination is individuality. So it's literally all based on desire. Fire is desire. The fire of desire. It's your passions. So that's your individuality. So the more an individual desires to externalize himself, that's them being more passionate, and that's them being more in their fire of desire. Because the spirit is going from nothing into something. And then if that individual wants to disconnect you from your spirit, they're going to use all of their imagination that they possibly can to convince you that you are part of them. This is like what most people in earth realm are dealing with, basically, is believing that they're part of some other spirit, and then they are spending their whole life doing what the world tells them so that they can go to this other heaven. And that's, once they get there, they're going to realize that's hell. So the point of your imagination is that it is untamable. It is an infinite flame. And a spirit just has to make you feel like you're unworthy of your imagination. Like the moment someone tells you that, hey, this is a God. This is a God that created this and they're better than you. Literally, the fact that you as a spirit can, in your imagination, be like, okay, I can create that too, though. And then you can already imagine creating it, shows that you are just as infinite as anything you're seeing. You are just as infinite as anything you're interacting with. You are just choosing to use your infinity different than others. This is how the universe is made. Everyone is infinitely powerful. People just decide that they're not. And then you can't tell someone that they are if they decide that they're not, because now you're using your power to fight yourself. Like, that's silly. Like, if they aren't powerful, then they aren't. This is why it's important to listen to people. Everyone is infinitely powerful, but if they tell you that they're not, then they're not. So this is why it's so important not to just like project your qualities into others and like actually listen to them. Because if someone feels all these negative emotions and stuff, it's not really about making them not feel those things. If they want to feel those things, they will. You can share with them why they shouldn't. You can learn why. You can flesh out their imagination with your imagination based on how you're using these physical structures to communicate. But you're not going to be able to change their imagination. And this is the point. No flames can touch. You are your own point. You are your own flame. You are you. You are whole inside of yourself. There's desireless, and then there's your desire, and then everything that you don't want to see in between. And that's like the journey, almost. Like when you have desirelessness and then a desire, so you want to do something, and you're here where you haven't done it yet, there's all this like infinite possibilities of just like emotions that you don't want to deal with on that journey. I'm sure like a perfect example is being super fit. A lot of people are not fit, and then they desire to be fit, but it's too hard of a journey to go through that emotion of like reaching that desire. So they never actually externalize themselves to be fit. And that's the point. A spirit who doesn't gather up enough energetic emotion to even create a body and externalize itself to communicate its imaginations won't. This is why everyone you interact with has some kind of imagination. If they don't, then I guess, I mean, people like to talk about clones or something. But even at that point, it's still an imagination because it's all about fire, light, what you can see. So, twin flames are spirits whose imaginations, although flames cannot touch, so the whole point of why we as spirits cool down our flames into water and actually create life out of water is so that we can connect. Right? When I said connect, we had to disconnect just to hammer in the point of me starting this video over again because I desire to connect. So this is everything. If I did not desire to connect, I could have just ended the video there and then continued on about life and been in my alone realm. So fire is who we are when we're alone. This is why no two flames can touch. Your imagination is too fiery to touch another imagination because two spirits cannot have full control at the same time. They can't. Two spirits are not going to have full control at the same time. It's just not going to happen. This is, if you want full control, that's you when you're alone. You can only be alone when you have full control. This is why nature is the balance of control and everything that comes with not being in control and being at the whim of something outside of oneself. But it's still spirits together controlling life. So when you think about your flame, your vision, you can control your imagination. You can imagine whatever you want, and it's going to change, but it will be consistent, like this flame. Like, we'll watch a flame dance for hours, but it's going to roughly stay in the same space and be the same temperature and the same color and just all that, because it's still a representation of one thing. So when you find what you believe is your twin flame, this is after you've cooled off your imagination with all these other spirits who have somewhat similar imaginations or some kind of imagination, but you've cooled off your imaginations into this body of water. So now you're in a body of water that allows you to connect your desire to express your imaginations together, because that's what it takes. Fire is a desire to be an individual. Water is a desire to be a collective. So this is why water is two, fire is one. When you add those together, you get that three, and then that's the air. That's where we get our chi, and that's where now we're communicating our imaginations inside of the cosmic waters that we're all connecting our spirits with. So from there, the chi settles down into earth. That becomes your body. And now your spirit is using its fire and water to unite chi, which is going through your heart. You got this whole chi sphere, and it's powering you and everything around you. And it keeps you connected, and it keeps all your cells communicating. And that's how you would then manifest superpowers, is being able to express your chi better, because your chi is the expression of your spirit, and the spirit is infinite. So a twin flame is someone that once you've done all of that, you meet them in this realm where your flames couldn't touch. But the point of spirits creating worlds is so that they can feel like they're touching. So that's why, like, even quantum physics, if you're lost into quantum physics and you're not resonating with all the spiritual stuff that I'm saying, right there they talk about how atoms, light particles, just light particles, atoms, whatever particles they want to say, can never touch. Nothing can ever touch. One, like a thing can never touch another. There's always magnetism. So that's how we get the feeling. That's how we get the two, and it's solidifying how there's always space within space, because flame can never touch, but flame can feel like it's touching, and flame can look like it's touching, and then it can touch for all intents and purposes. That's the point of life. That's the point of the spirit creating life. Life is the illusion that allows us to feel like we're separated, and then we can connect on being separate. That's where, when we have this flame, we have our individuality. That is already our desire to be separate from nothing. It's just then the desire to be separate from nothing is not sustainable. Like, where is that going? That's an I. That's just going nowhere. Or, I mean, it's, yeah, literally, like, where are you going? So then that's where the spirit being a circle, you had to immediately reflect back to yourself everything that balances out your desires. And then that's how water is created. That's how we connect with ourselves. And then we can connect with others who have also connected with themselves. And then it's a whole thing. Versus spirits who maybe don't want to connect with themselves, and they're just projecting out a desire of their imagination. And it's like, okay, they're like still not observable. And if you only connect with yourself, you're still not observable. This is the point of chi, the point of air being the first external element, the first element that we can see, which then represents what we cannot see, that fire and water, which is what is nothing and actually infinite and everything. Then it's nothing and everything. It's the ultimate paradox is spirit. So when we are in these bodies and you meet somebody that you really resonate with, when you die, quote unquote, when you transform, die, phi, when your body changes and your conscious awareness goes into a totally different space or different simulation, you very well in that lifetime, if you connected with the right spirits, have developed a soul group of sorts. And this is what we're all doing subconsciously as spirits. Like when we desire to connect, it's then about over just infinity, like literally just all of the infinite universe, just all of it, because we are the universe. So we're just creating what we're learning about, and we're learning about our own nothingness. So the more we communicate from our nothingness, from our imaginations and feelings, we then create life. This is how we create life. This is what, like any white supremacist, anyone trying to tell you that you are created by something and that they can tell the future and that this thing's going to happen is literally only their individual flame, I promise. The moment that they tell you their individual flame, the fact that you can, in reaction, imagine something different shows that you are an infinite individual. It's just literally a matter of if you desire to believe theirs or not. If you desire to put air to their flame and make it bigger. Because then the more you communicate to yourself about someone else's imagination, and the more you fan their flame, so to speak, the bigger their flame gets and it will consume you and everything around it. That's the thing with flame. It's consumptive. This is why it's not life. So life is consumptive because life is the spirit consuming itself. But life cannot be created out of desire. Life must be created out of water. It's just then water is only created out of the desire for spirits to express their individual nothingness together. Come on, like it's. I hate that this isn't taught in schools, But the point is that it's white supremacy and like all these different detailed systems. But if you just look at money or just look at the simple history of Earth, it's not even hard to see. Well, I mean, both these things, right? How did money spread across Earth? Like, how did banking systems start to rule everyone's lives so that now everyone's communicating in their head about how they need money and then they need to go to heaven and they think they can use money to get into heaven, and then they're just correlating spirituality with money and thinking that it's year 2021. Wow. So this is the thing with logic. It's all imagination. It's all light. And when you have found spirits who resonate with your imagination, so let's say you imagine superpowers a lot and you don't meet many people who imagine that superpowers are real. And then you finally meet someone who like really imagines superpowers are real. Everyone desires to imagine superpowers are real. That's why superhero movies make so much money and the government can weaponize that stuff. But they don't believe in themselves enough. They don't desire themselves enough to actually like meditate upon that and like learn the chi, breath, fasting techniques that would allow them to get in contact with their spirit and thus express way more of their individuality than the world is telling them is possible. Because the world isn't interested in you being an individual. The world wants you to be lost in the world so that it can keep running itself on you. Because it's a dead world. It's not powering itself. It's powered by you. This is why your attention is the ultimate commodity here. So when you meet spirits who resonate with your imagination, like when you're meeting a spirit who finally is like, yeah, like superpowers are real. Like, why wouldn't, I mean, I can do anything. And you haven't met many people who are like that. That becomes a connection, like for real. Like if you have lived most of your life with people who are like, oh yeah, no, I'm nothing. And they think of nothing as negative. They just hate themselves. And then you finally meet someone who's like, yeah, I can do anything. And you're more in that mindset. You're going to connect with that person. That's the point. We connect with people that we want to be more like. We connect with people that we see ourselves in. So then there's also people who reflect our flames because our imaginations are already in harmony. So when they're reflecting their own imagination too, they reflect our imagination. So this is the point of twin flames, is that two spirits are like so in resonance that they create home together. So this is how Anubis is my twin flame. He's my dog in all realms and realities. He's truly my other half. Like I'm the light, he's my darkness. I'm the air and earth, and he is my fire and water. And that's where we're whole inside of ourselves. The point is that spirits become more whole when they unify. That's why collective is life then, and why the feminine energy is so powerful in creating a home and nurturing a home and like having an environment that is super beautiful and like helps keep the flame alive in that regard so that spirits can actually express their infinite freedom and be free when they then externalize themselves in air and then not get lost in earth. And then that home itself is a structure which then allows us to build bigger structures. So this is how like, we have spirit homes. I can tap in with Anubis and go home anytime. Like like it's truly just about the awareness of knowing that you create life. And it's so frustrating to me that this white supremacist ruled world has taken over everything that we've done as indigenous spirits to make us believe that we don't create life and that we were created by life so that they can create life to be whatever they want it to be. And now they're using all of our own art and all of our own concepts against us. So twin flame, twin flame is when your flames can't touch, but you meet a spirit where, like everything I said, you're in resonance in that way. Your imaginations are so tight that you're passing on through multiple lifetimes, and now your souls are getting super connected to where your flames are getting connected. So that's how the twin flames work. Your water is so joined that your flames, which the water is coming from, which can never get connected, might as well be twins. It might as well like be from the same space. The point is that we're all individuals. So if I go on the internet right now and look up twin flames, a lot of it is like talking about being cut from the same cloth and being the same thing. And it's like, no, the point is that we're all infinitely different. It's just that because it's nothing, it's still the same. Because you're not going to connect with anyone that you don't resonate with. So we're infinitely different. If you find yourself in any realm or reality, you need to know that your nothingness felt like connecting with that on some unconscious to then subconscious level for you now to consciously explore why. And now you're going to learn about your nothingness. You're going to learn about your individual infinite spirit space based on the circumstances that you consciously find yourself in. This is the point of twin flames. So twin flames help keep us then grounded in whatever world we're in. So for me personally, Nubis, he came in. He stuck with me throughout all of high school. I left him for college, which is pretty whack. And he got sick when I was gone for college. And he was supposed to die when I was gone. Of course, naturally, he stuck it out for me to come back. And then I got to hang out with him until he died one morning. And that morning was like very trippy. Because it was like thunderstorming really hard. It wasn't even raining before. But this morning, like, mom woke me up. She was sad. She said it happened. I got out of my bed like, oh, and I knew what had happened because Max had been sick. Again, like he was supposed to die weeks before I'd even come back. So this is where like he stuck out weeks just where like I got to like lay with him a lot. And yeah, like talk with him a lot. It was like very cool. Cause like back then it was just chasing Max, like, so I'm not like speaking with him like we create life, Max. Max, we're gods. And not gods in the ego sense, gods in the natural sense. What else could it be? How could we be created by something? Like that thing sounds like it's trying to colonize our original ideas, Max. No, I wasn't. We were just connecting. So yeah, the day he died, that was literally like 5 a.m. And then mom woke me up, let me know. His body was already hard in her bed. I'd been like sleeping in the bed sometimes, but it was like this night I just had to work on a Black Panther costume. I just had to, instead of hanging out with him. So whack on me. But it was literally like torrential rains and like actual thunderstorms. Like it could not have been planned better. Just how dramatic his death was. And just how hard it was raining that morning. And mom was all like, you don't have to go bury him now. And I was like, I do. I like really do. Cause like I wasn't even like, I wasn't trying to have his body just like laying there. I wanted to get it into the ground as soon as possible. So that's where that rain helped me out. Like if it wasn't raining, that ground, and especially like if it wasn't like it was raining for a while, I'm sure like just that morning since it was like 5 a.m., that ground would have been like much harder to dig all the way like into in the backyard. So it was really me listening to Sigur Rós with a shovel and Max by my side, just straight up digging in this backyard with rain, just like falling, and like mom there as well, just digging. Um, and yeah, wrapped him up, threw him in there, and then I had a nightmare that I buried him alive and that he was actually trying to get out. So that was just a lot of my, that was my physical last, like very tangible memories coming back from freshman year, my first semester at college, where then Max was with me through much of my youth in high school. And I really kind of felt like he was like my only, somehow just true friend. Like literally, like I got that, like, yeah, like people, I meet them in school, but like Max is like my real friend. You know, like he was like a friend that like I've clearly like known. No, like I've truly like I knew him. Like we knew each other. And like we would fight and we'd play and it'd be lit and communicate and it'd be awesome. And yes, spirits are fantastic. So this is the point of twin flames. Twin flames keep each other grounded when they then go into other circumstances. So this is a wild realm. Anytime you make a body in a world, if you're just going in alone, it can be very scary. It can be you can feel disconnected from your spirit if it's just you being alone, because it's like based on how well you connect with yourself. But the point of having family, the point of having twin flames is that connecting with others helps you connect with yourself. So connecting with Anubis, connecting with Max, helped me connect with myself, helped me learn more about me. And then it also helps him learn more about him. And then it helps us create life together in a greater way. Because then the point is that all of us as spirits are nothing and we want to express our nothingness, but we have to learn how to then do that. And like whatever we want to express, there's like infinite ways we can do that, right? If you make music, there's infinite ways you can then make music and express that. So then it's all about what you're in resonance with. What is your vibe as a spirit? You create your soul, your infinite perspective. Now you have this feeling, your internal water. The music you vibe with is going to be the music that you then want to logically get lost in the details of creating. This is everything. So I'm very grateful for Anubis for making this body and being with me through that time that like he didn't have to. Because like every time I'm forced to go to school and sit for 7 hours a day in awful posture while I'm learning lies and being told that like I'm not smart unless I regurgitate these lies perfectly and like memorize all this garbage they just made up to disconnect me from myself. And he's then like while I'm doing that just stuck at home like trapped in a cage. Sometimes we had a cage because whatever, like, you know, dog slavery world. Ugh. But no, literally as much as possible as I could, when I would leave the house, take his collar off and be like, nah, bro, none of that. He looks so nice. He has such a nice neck, bro, without that fucking throat trapper. Whatever. And then yeah, let him run around the house. And then, you know, at least he has some kind of freedom. The house is cyclical, so he can run in a circle back and forth and whatever. I'm sure he was on very metaphysical stuff. This is the point, right? Us as humans, when you know not to get lost in light, you're able to leave your body and do way more stuff. And then that trickles down into this world. That's what dreams are. So everyone does it. It's just what awareness. Dogs clearly dream. Max would super duper dream. Like he's comedy with moving his legs and just twitching in his sleep in general when he's dreaming. So all of us animals, right? No matter what organism you see, it's a spirit just like you. and it desires to communicate its individuality just like you. It's just doing that differently based on the body. And we are learning how to take on bigger bodies, more complex bodies that require more internal communication based on how well we are communicating and taking on these bodies. So the point of twin flames is for us to have families through this process, for us to then, like, over lifetimes, we can materialize into a world, and then synchronistically, because a spirit already set it up with the other spirit who made that body, your bodies unconsciously, synchronistically, right, by coincidence, come into each other, and then you feel a vibe. And then it's like, whoa, you're important. And then boom, like, that's just how life is made. Like, we're constantly doing this. Like, many people that you know are very well people that you've already picked to know from past lives. And that's the point of why they resonate beyond any ideas that you guys may disagree on at the time. So this is the point of twin flames. Spirits finding the other equally harmonious and opposite imagination that they can then mimic true water with. Because it takes two flames to create water. So normally that's your desire, and then everything that balances out your desire, which is all the demons, your desires and your demons. These two D's, the double D's. That's weird. The double D's are the ultimate desires or whatever. That's water. That's where the milk of life comes out of. Is this why men like double D's? What? Desire and demon, and now we have life? That's so... It's subconscious, bro. The spirit finds a way. Look, this has been Cosmic Conversations. I'm your boy, Tahuti Trismegistus. I love my twin flame Anubis. We create life through all realms and realities. Hermanubis fusion, all right? We be in there like Gogeta, leading all these lost souls back to their spirits so that we can all consciously create life on a more consensual scale. Because this is the main problem we're seeing here, right? With white supremacy, is stealing the consent of others. Steal, right? With metallic logic to separate you from your spirit. Ugh. We won't have it. We're out.